It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do.
Oh, okay.
It was in Miami.
Uh-huh.
It should say where we're going, right?
Yeah.
So where are you from, Joseph?
Originally born in Colorado.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How long you been here?
Reach your destination by 541.
Gonna try to figure out. Oh, go that way.
Is it going to tell you left?
It's gonna tell me.
Probably because maybe the traffic on the highway.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
I was just, I don't know what I was asking. How long you been here?
Oh, been here 4 years.
Oh, cool. You like it?
Moved here from North Miami.
Oh, yeah, I'm from Miami.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, and I knew Carney's down in Miami.
Oh, you did?
Dottie Carney, Jerry Carney.
Jerry. Not my family,
Nah.
but that's okay. We're Irish.
Nice.
At least my dad is.
Okay.
So, yeah, we decided to come up here and see what was different. You know, we liked Miami. Lived there 4 years.
Nice.
But my wife couldn't get a job there because she didn't speak 2 languages. That's a problem.
Yeah. So then you guys bailed?
Yeah. Well, I was driving for a different company, and that kind of went sour. And then my wife, she just graduated to be a paralegal, but just couldn't find a job there. So we had enough. Decided we didn't need to move on.
Okay. I think I will lower this actually, the volume.
Welcome to another episode of Student of Life, the game show.
Today's episode all revolves around Burial Beer Company, a brewery in Asheville. We just heard some of the Uber ride to the brewery, and we will continue with that now.
This guy I picked up, and he and his girlfriend, they were really, really nice, and they didn't want to go anywhere in particular. They just go in here to get some smokes, get some, you know, they like to smoke cigarettes. Mm-hmm. And so I took them all over that afternoon. Went up on the top of a hill, tried to find somebody. He says, wait, it's too steep for you to go. I'll just run up there. And then finally he comes running down the hill, and then the truck goes past him. And he says, well, they didn't want to wait for me, so I drive clear out to Fairview. And but the interesting part about these people, I got them a second time about a month later.
Uh-huh.
Same people. And they told me that, well, he was talking about detoxifying, you know, going to Florida. And he says, you know, I just got a new car. But the girl that I was with, she took off with my car, and it's been, you know, I did a DMV report, you know, and APB to try to find the car, and it can't find a car. So I'm going along, and it's like, well, what are you detoxifying for? He says, oh, well, I'm heroin addict. And he said, I really didn't want to get into this, but my girlfriend wanted me to. And then he finally got into being a drug dealer. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's why this guy had so much money. Every time I turned around, he was giving me another $10 or $20 bill on the first trip. Because he wanted me to go everywhere. And I was like, okay, well, I'll take you anywhere you want.
But didn't he have an Uber, you know, it was through Uber?
It was an Uber passenger.
Right, so he didn't have to tip you. I mean, he didn't have to keep on paying you. He was being charged anyway.
No, he says, oh, you're such a nice guy. I'm gonna give you a big tip.
So what did we learn?
And I said, well, where can we go to the library? Oh, sure, we can go to the library. Then he wanted to go to the pawn shop, and he wanted to go here and there.
So the lesson we learned is that heroin addicts are really nice people.
No.
They're very generous.
They're very deceived.
Okay.
You know, and I felt sorry for him because he lost his car. So then on the way back from this trip, the second trip, his girlfriend called him and said, well, they know where the girl is. She was in the hospital, but the only thing is she died.
So left. No, you're right. Sorry.
I had to go down one.
She died.
She died from the overdose of heroin, but they found the car, which was good.
Like, that's the important.
I said, I told that guy, I said, you need to get away from heroin. You really need to get out of here.
Yeah.
He says, well, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going.
Good.
So I thought, oh my gosh.
That's
I didn't know anything about heroin. I didn't even know that it was popular here.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the whole country, it's become more of an issue in the last, whatever decade or so.
Yeah, I'm really, really surprised.
Yeah, it's a sad one.
So anyway, those were some of my.
Yeah, those are good stories.
I get to meet lots of new, nice people.
Lots of new heroin junkies.
Huh?
Lots of new heroin junkies.
Yeah.
Nah.
This is sort of a new stage of my life, driving people around, and because I'm retired and
you're good at it. What were you doing? What was your?
I was a telecommunications troubleshooter for 25 years.
Oh, cool.
And lived in Seattle, Washington.
Oh, nice.
So I had a good life.
You have.
I'm ready to move on, and my wife and I, we decided every 5 years we're going to move somewhere.
Oh, cool.
So that's what we're going to do.
So what's up next?
We might go up north, maybe up to Maine, or we might even just go on the west coast over to Wilmington.
Huh. Neat.
So we just like to every 5 years. That's been our kind of. After I retired, that's what we do.
So what has it been so far?
Well, we went to Oklahoma for a while.
Okay.
Where am I going?
Is it in here?
Oh yeah. Let's see.
I think it might be in here.
I think it's.
I
think it's right down in.
Yeah, I feel like you're right.
I lost my track. I was talking too much.
I was giving you too much credit as such a great driver, and that's
there it is.
That's the back of it. Yeah,
that's the back side.
Yeah, yep, I can hop out here. It's perfect.
Okay.
Hey, great talking to you.
Nice talking to you.
Yeah.
Okay, we made it to Burial. We came here today to listen to the beer makers themselves speak on a panel. Unfortunately, the audio did not turn out as we had hoped, although their stories were truly inspirational, so we decided to include a little bit coming up. And then after that, we're going to hear from a wicked weed wife, give her 2 cents about the beer community in Asheville. But first, before we go to the panel, I met a group of people. There's about 8 people here, and there's about 3 conversations going on at once. So let's see if you can decipher what's what.
Art camp. No, he went to Micah. And he went to School of Visual Arts. Nice. Yeah. He has a master's from SVA. Wow. What is he doing now? He is a large-scale narrative watercolor painter. That's amazing. He's represented by Gallery Paris. That's amazing. He would never say he's not.
Yes.
But he
You're
is.
an humble guy. That's cool.
I was an artist. Now I'm a different kind of artist. I'm a cooking artist.
I think once you're an artist, you're always an artist.
I work at Cucina 24. Yeah. I'm in culinary school. Brian Canapelli. I love Brian. I love Mia. I love those kids. I love Skylar. I love his kids so much. I don't know his kids yet. It's a new thing. They come for donuts every Thursday morning. I have not been to Hull yet. I need to come. Come during the week though. Yeah. Thank you. They're regulars. That's always true. Yeah, I want to check it out. I'm just so busy. I took the whole fucking weekend off and I'm already like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know.
I know. I feel weird having Friday off because we also had Monday off.
Yeah.
It's a 3-day week. It's like this shit happens only for Christmas.
What do y'all do?
So much done.
What do y'all do in
I have
Raleigh?
like a really boring, more like financial service
We
job.
both work in
In
finance.
a what? I used to work in finance. I used to be a bond trader.
No way.
What?
That's so funny.
I have like a really crazy life. Now I make donuts.
That's awesome.
I was a bond trader for E-Trade.
Okay.
for 3 years.
Fun.
Yeah.
Like executionist, trying to line up stuff with like.
Yeah, and I never went to college.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I just took the Series 7.
Yeah.
I passed.
Series 7.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
College is overrated.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome, man. Like, because there's like so many kids that like
Hey, you're all
go to college, major in finance, and can't like pass the Series 7.
I feel like I'm missing out.
Fucking hard.
I might go down there.
It's I
so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where are you going to school?
At AB Tech, culinary.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. With
awesome.
Iris? Yes. Yeah, you know Iris? Yeah, she might be here in a little bit. Cool.
Oh, did you text to see if she's coming down?
No, I just figured she would come to say bye to Brett.
I think I might go down.
I haven't had
I
any
can't
classes
do that
with
again.
her, but
I'm
she's
so
really nice.
stoked.
I might go down there.
Thanks, sir.
She
Might.
just left
I
last
just
week.
feel like it's like good audio I can be capturing.
Oh,
Oh, is
yep,
that
she was
actually a
interning.
recorder?
Yeah. Yep. She was great.
Wait, say it?
I'm
No,
still,
no, this is.
like, there's so many
Oh,
boys
did you
there.
actually?
I'm still, like, learning. We know a lot of people there.
I could not imagine. Well, interesting.
I'm saying that
Is it-
guy.
is
You know,
Nathan?
I'm gonna go
Nathan
down
is
there.
his name?
Maybe I'll
Yeah,
come back.
Nathan is the manager.
Oh, he's the manager?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love
I think I'm gonna go
Nathan
down
and
there.
Frank and Felix.
It's great
Frank
meeting
is
y'all.
amazing.
I might be back in a few. We'll see.
Frank is my
I don't know about
homeboy.
Frank.
Frank is a
Who's
nice
Frank?
guy. He's the
cooking now.
culinary executive. Yeah, now he's cooking over it.
Good meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, I might be back.
Okay.
We'll see.
You should come back.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
And I see him fall off, and I see him not, how do you get so much work, David? How do you,
Let's take
how do you
cards.
manage to make a living doing that or whatever? And it's like, I chalk it up to, like Doug said,
How's this
like,
work out?
take criticism.
So you're just gonna pick
very
whatever
well
print you
because
want?
Right, but as far as the glass, like
you're
here.
taking-
You're gonna take your glass
beat
off
that
and
shit
find a
right
table,
out.
or if you can't, then you can sit on
To-
these areas
to
and
be
Jeff's serving
invested
beer,
to
and
the
the cans
point
are on the
where
table,
you
just grab a can and put
say,
them
oh, I'm
themselves.
not gonna change
And they're
that,
just on the first beer, so
your input
yeah,
doesn't
good
matter
timing.
to me, like you
Awesome.
said, we live in a world together.
Collaborative. It was a really cool thing we did back in the early days. It was actually called pollination back then, and it's the honey saison as the base, fermented out with no actual flowers added, just honey in the whirlpool. And then we would split the batch, and at that time we were only making 1 barrel batches, so we would split that batch into 4 5-gallon kegs basically, and treat each one with a different flower, edible flower, and then we would serve them as a flight, all side by side, so you could taste what the flower itself, how that changed the beer. Same base beer on all of them. We did this multiple times with many flowers throughout the course of probably a year or so, and back then, Doug, Justin, and I were working the bar, so we got to collect a lot of the feedback of what people liked and didn't like, and we used that information to kind of build the master blend of all the flowers. So that the beer has, I think, 8 different flowers in it. A very specific ratio that I put together just through knowledge. 7 different flowers, and yeah, so that's the beer now. And we had this beer called Haysal that we mentioned earlier. There was a saison that we used to can that we kind of discontinued canning. I think we might bring it back soon though. All right, let's talk about lagers for a minute. I have this theory, and it might not hold true for people of a younger generation than myself, but for my generation, when I grew up drinking mostly Rolling Rock and Yingling, because I'm from Pennsylvania. And of course, then I went to college and I drank like Meister Brau and Natty Light. Yeah, I know it's depressing to think about now, but this was the culture that I lived in. Those beers were cheap and effective for the most part, and that's all that mattered at the time. And then I got into craft beer in college, and so anyway, my theory was basically that the longer you're involved in the craft beer world, the more involved you are, just the more, as much as you love beer. As times go on, you start to kind of come full circle, and not only would you rather drink a lighter, crisper beer, but you also start to learn how damn hard it is to make those beers, and to make them well. So I know a lot of younger folks probably grow up now drinking IPA, and I don't know what that's all about, but so yeah. So we really love lagers, not only because they're just really fun to drink and they're beautiful and elegant and soft and nuanced, but because we honestly feel like if we can make a good lager, we can make anything. So it's a cool challenge to us as brewers. So we wanted to make kind of like the ultimate beer for ourselves that would be like the everyday drinker, that would be like when you take the brewing boots off, what do you reach for first? And it was Shadow Clock. We wanted to make a really great lager that was light, that had paid some homage to American light lagers to some degree. We wanted to have a really nice lager yeast profile. We wanted to have a little bit of hop profile. We want them all to be evident. All come together into one thing. So, for those of you who don't know, and you probably all know, but the reason why making a lager is so hard, there's a couple elements to it. One is, it takes a long time to make. Lagers are fermented colder, and yeast is a living thing and operates more vigorously at warm temperatures. So when you put it in an environment that's cool, it moves slow, kind of like a snake. So, moving on. My fiance does have a frozen steak in the fridge that she plans to turn into taxidermy. It's been in there for like 6 months.
Go Annalise!
Anyway, that's one part of it. So because it's so slow moving in the tank, it has a longer tank residency. It has to be in the tank for much longer, and that means you can't make other beers while it's there. So you could make potentially 2 or 3 beers in the time that you've made 1 beer, which when you think about, cost, cash flows type of scenario, it's not the most intelligent thing to do. But when you love it, you do it anyway. And then also because it doesn't have a lot of, it's not a flavor bomb. It's not full of huge malt notes like a stout, or huge hop notes like an IPA, or even huge yeast notes like Belgian beer. It's soft and delicate, so any blemishes, if you will be evident. So the processes have to be picture perfect to make a great lager. So when we decided to name this beer, we wanted to speak on that kind of like the time, the dedication that you're going to put into it, the time it was going to take, the fact that we were willing to be patient to make a beer that we were really passionate about. So this is still kind of in the era of naming beers after tools, and we decided maybe like a sundial would be something you might find on the farm. So sundial was kind of the initial concept, and then again for mostly trademark purposes, we went with Shadow Clock. Yeah, way deeper than that, of course. But yeah, so we actually, I don't know, have we ever done the "It's a Sundial Stupid" hashtag? We put "It's a Sundial Stupid" as the hashtag sometimes, just in case you weren't sure what a shadow clock was. But So that was really the story that we gave David about this beer. And this beer, the concept of this was totally David's idea. And it actually is, obviously it's actually very different than really any other can that we have, in that there's a very direct tie between the light side and the dark side. It's essentially the same image. But time has passed, so I'll let David talk about that.
My favorite hashtag is punch the clock, which you all should do right now. I was just going to add really quickly, literally, this is maybe the only one that we literally said time, and I may have given you the copy ahead of time. I don't really remember. Did I write the copy ahead of time? But it was just like, we care about time, it's a shadow clock, and David was like so excited with this idea. That was like a fucking no-brainer. It was amazing. I mean, I don't even think we thought for a second. It was like, yes, do that. Amazing.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I don't have any shadow clock here today. Somebody could give me one. Sweet. I feel like I can't. Thank you.
Jess has been drinking.
Okay, thank you. I need to be properly inspired to talk about it. No, I'm not punching the clock right now. Thank you. Thank you, everyone involved, for bringing me here. So, I don't know actually if I mentioned this. In addition to living in Minneapolis, I'm not native to there. I grew up in Mississippi. That's where I was born and raised. And this piece, weirdly enough, was this opportunity to connect my experiences growing up in Mississippi in a lot of in rural, being a Cub Scout, Boy Scout, whatever, to
so everybody here, we have an incredible team. Anyways, I'm going to move on to the last one, and then we're going to, the last can. And then while we're getting ready for the bottles, because I think that's going to be a whole thing, we'll ask a lot more questions. Fierce Invalids. So we threw Fierce Invalids in here. I'm smiling because I love this beer and this can. We threw this in here because we want to talk about our collaborative process. David has done a lot of collaborative pieces for us. We have a different mentality about how we want this can to look for a lot of different reasons. One of the reasons is that, the life and death thing is a burial thing. It's our thing, and we love it, and we believe strongly in it, and it drives. We do a burial, but we don't expect other half true, Holy Mountain, Threes, Zebulon, 3 Taverns. I could name the collaborative breweries that we work with over 3 or 4 hours because we do a lot of it. And the reason we collaborate is because we like to continue to learn. If you were to ask me how I feel about our beer, I'm very modest about it. I think that we can always learn. We are very, very cognizant of the fact that we should always grow. We should always try to be better. Because if we didn't, we would fail, and we would inevitably be a brewery that you don't want to buy beer from. So we collaborate a lot for the educational purpose of it, but mostly we do it because we just like the people. Always. A lot of the breweries that come into town from out of town are breweries that we met somewhere else on the road, had an amazing night with, and said, come to Asheville, we want to share our amazing town with you.
Have a lot of beer, good beer, but what is different about it other than good beer, And I think for Burial, they've really cut out a niche, which is awesome.
By doing what?
The art, they put on a lot of events. They do this, they do the Moonlight Market, they do, the Salt Smoke is fantastic.
I think you're missing one major thing. Their quality's
well, their quality's great, but we have a lot of good breweries.
We do. But this might be the best, tasting-wise.
Yeah, it's really good.
You guys disagree? Does your mom disagree?
I don't disagree. I was like,
it's amazing.
It's definitely there. Yeah,
every beer that I've tried has been
for sure.
So who are your other top 2?
My husband works for Wicked Weed, so I was like, we're Wicked Weed fans too.
Okay.
I was like, definitely Burial is a tide. It's not second, it's tied. I cannot.
If you were not married, would it be number one and Wicked Weed be number two?
I like sour beers, so I'm happy that Burial finally did a sour beer, because they've actually done more than one, but I'm like, that kind of did it for me. And I love the Saison. I love what they love. I was like, I love the Saisons, I love the Pilsners. Not a huge fan of IPA. I told you that. I was like, so it kind of sold me when they did some things that were just not IPA.